Superliminal is a puzzle game about going through dream therapy to gain understanding of the power of perspective. But there are still many unanswered questions. When and where does this happen? Who is Dr. Glenn Pierce, the voice that guides you through? And how was this dreamscape built? It's not obvious, but I believe that all these questions can be answered by the various signs, whiteboards, and even a voice line or two. Of course, beware spoilers for the game. I'm going to start by playing this line from the ending montage sequence.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and by now you may have realised that all of this has happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
This means that every little thing that you've encountered has been intentional. All the puzzles, the Easter eggs, the whiteboards and papers, they're all placed on purpose. None of it was supposedly created by your own mind. This is important to establish a basis that everything I'm going to show you from in-game is valid evidence. So let me start with an easy one. When does Superliminal take place? The answer is Saturday, September 5th, 1991, as it says here on the Terms of Service, which can be found right at the start of the game. More specifically, the dream happens between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. What's interesting is that there are multiple calendars in the game set to the page for March 1991, and one version that's even marked to be the 3rd. My guess is that it's related to something in the patient's personal life, maybe that prompted the therapy. It might also just be a joke that it's a Sunday, or Beans Day. Now that we have a when, let's figure out where. Going back to the Terms of Service, there's a line here that says that fees include Washington tax. Seeing that Pillow Castle, the developers of the game, are based in Washington, this makes sense as a general setting. Let's zoom in further and pull this line from the opening cutscene.
At the Pierce Institute, our patent-pending Somnosculpt technology provides safe and effective dream therapy while you rest in the comfort of our flagship clinic. Located right next to the secondary overflow parking lot at the University Medical Center. Somnosculpt, we'll make your dreams come true.
Now, I don't think it's a specific university or city, as this plane ticket and shipping label both refer to Wake Up in the address, but there are multiple sources backing up the idea that it's near a university, but isn't necessarily part of it. A secondary overflow parking lot is not going to be very close to the medical center itself, but rather could be next to, say, a strip mall. That's right, this little diorama of the Somnosculpt clinic next to Rysand Medical Supply and Shipping, Trophy Tony's, and Jungle's Bistro is in fact where you are sleeping. It's not this grand facility shown first in the opening cutscene, but this little dinky strip mall shown towards the end. It's possible that the first building is a concept for when Somnosculpt receives more funding, as mentioned in the Terms of Service in this brochure to the Cubism art exhibit. This information contextualizes the notes on the right side of a nearby whiteboard, like this reminder to call Jungle's management because the music is too dang loud and there's a scent of burnt curry. Imagine trying to run a sleep clinic with these distractions so close nearby. This note to ask if they can hand out flyers for testing is additional proof that this is a real place. Why would they be talking about flyers or increasing canister orders in a dream? Another thing that these flyers might imply is that advertising this place is somewhat local. In America, psychology-related studies are often advertised to nearby university students, so maybe the patient is a student, or otherwise someone who lives nearby. So now that we've examined the time and the place, who is this mysterious Dr. Glenn Pierce? Is he a medical doctor, a therapist, a PhD in dream psychology? I'm inclined to believe the last one, and that he's working with the university, but I'll get to that a little later. First, let's look at what we can find of his history. In Chapter 6, Dollhouse, you can find a great number of suitcases with this plane ticket that I showed earlier, from Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, to this fictitious Wake Up. It's dated for 1988, and could be the 4th of November or April 11th, depending on what date format was used on the ticket. Regardless, this seems to imply that Dr. Glenn Pierce moved to the US only 3 years before the events of the game take place. But here's a line from Chapter 5, Clone, that gives us another interesting fact.
Hello, name is my Pierce Dr. Glenn. To the Somnosculpt Welcome Experience, team of your care leader patient years 10 development. Conditions struggle you whatever with? Professional invention.
Now while this is intentionally jumbled up, attempting to unscramble leads to a sentence that says, Welcome to the Somnosculpt Experience, a professional invention with 10 years of development. This means that Dr. Glenn Pierce started Somnosculpt in Scotland at least 10 years prior to the events of the game. And yes, he is the sole inventor, as mentioned in the document How to Start It, which can be found throughout the game. Other documents which are likely belonging to Pierce are this brain diagram, an explanation of brainwaves during sleep, some code written in C related to the standard orientation protocol and locating the patient in a dream diary from May, and this sticky note. It starts with a list of eggs, milk, chocolate, and space, and below there's a note saying, always asking why we're doing this, and another saying, keep making the game, keep going, don't mess it up, don't worry about the bugs in your brain, just do everything by the time it's over with. And finally, examples dog, log, cog, pog, bog, hog. I think this is just a joke from the devs to give Pierce a somewhat scatterbrained personality. But finally, there's this online purchase request form, which has some interesting things on it. Now it's unclear why Glenn Pierce is listed as the vendor, as it seems like he's the one who should be doing the ordering, but seeing as the date in the middle right has an extra digit in it, I'm just going to assume that this document is a template taken from somewhere that the devs added text to, and it isn't necessarily perfect by any means. At the top is the Department of Oneirology, where oneirology is the study of dreams and how they relate to brain function. This header, plus the shipping instructions to the Student Welcome Center, is what makes me think that Dr. Glenn Pierce is closely involved with the university itself. The address being in Arizona is also puzzling to me, as it's the only mention of the state in the entire game, but I'm considering it to be another inconsistency with the document. What really interests me is what's being ordered. Sure, Laxium gas and anti-vibration pads make sense for a dream therapy clinic, and the Uncle Julio's rice pudding is a little odd, but what really caught my eye are these 99 plywood sheets and 40 extinguishers. Why would a dream psychologist be ordering plywood and extinguishers in bulk? Doesn't all of Superliminal occur in a dream? My theory is that the sets that you see in the game have been built in reality and then imported into the dreamscape. It's no secret that Superliminal is full of references to the movie Inception, such as the dream totems that are scattered throughout the game. There's Arthur's loaded die, Ariadne's lightweight bishop, Eames's copying poker chips, and of course, Cobb's spinning top. Looking once more at the terms of service, this line about the lockbox being located inside the subconscious also draws on themes from Inception. Realizing this, it's not a far leap to suggest that Dr. Pierce built the dream setting in reality, the same way that Ariadne built the maze used during the big heist. This theory answers a lot of other questions, like why are there so many of Pierce's own documents in their dream, and several copies of them? Why are there these whiteboards with specific notes about building materials and ordering real products? Why do these industrial signs found throughout the game look so photorealistic compared to the normal art style of the dream? I argue that these all exist in the real world, and Dr. Pierce has imported them to fill in the details beyond the puzzles. It also helps explain why a lot of hallways seem unfinished, because they probably are. We know that they're low on funding, so the Cubism art exhibit was never created. Several areas have this backrooms feel to them, and these freezer flaps are not long enough for this doorway. So what do you think? Have I cracked the code on some of these unanswered questions 5 years after the game's release? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for more Superliminal content. Thanks for watching.